What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another edition of Matchday Reloaded. Yes, we're going to be talking about yesterday evening's, last night's, whatever you want to call it. Yesterday's draw at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea won, Manchester United won. Manchester United last gasp equaliser. Casemiro cancels out a penalty decision that I'm not going to say is dubious. We are going to talk about that penalty decision. Was it necessarily a foul? Referees giving it consistency. We're going to get into all of that this morning. You know what it is on the Matchday Reloaded show. We're going to talk about Erik Ten Hag's quotes after the game, player quotes after the game. We're going to talk about Roy Keane's comments about Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, we are going to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. We're going to get the views of Flex, KG, Paolo, some highlights from the match view as well. We've got it all covered for you this morning, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UV Members Club. Links in the video description below. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat as well. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members-only content, the back catalogue to UV Raw. New episodes coming soon. Don't worry. They are still coming soon in the future. We'll get your comments up on the screen as well. You know what it's like in these individual solo streams. It's just you or I. It's just you and I. We've got a connection, you and I. We can get your comments up on the screen, such as Lil Yo-Yo says, let's go. Lil Yo-Yo then says, LOL Roy Keane. We are going to get into the Roy Keane comments after the game because I'm sure you've seen the videos on social media. I'm sure you've seen the clips of him and Gary Neville getting heated after the game yesterday, so we're going to talk about that too. Lucas Chan says, morning from Saskatchewan, Canada, 2 a.m. where he is. Morning, Lucas. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for joining us so early on where you are. And always, actually, do this, because this is one of my favorite things to do, especially on these solo streams. Let me know where you're watching from, because we've got such a wide-ranging and diverse community here. The UV community is vast and wide. It spans the entire globe, so let me know where you're watching from. We'll get your comments up on the screen, such as Mohammed says, morning from USA. Lucas says, still up from a wedding. Oh, wow. It's been a busy weekend for Lucas. We've got America. Raz says, Roy defending of Ronaldo is sickening. The hypocrisy. We're going to get into all of that. Don't you worry. And we are going to talk about positives, because I do think, like obviously the Spurs result in the week where we won 2-0 and it was the best performance of the season. Maybe yesterday wasn't the best performance of the season for Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag, but again, I think it was a positive step, and it's progress once again from the Manchester United manager. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's get in to what Erik Ten Hag had to say after the game. Of course, as I mentioned, if you didn't see the result yesterday, if you didn't see the game, Chelsea won, Manchester United won. A Jorginho penalty in the 87th minute. Looked like it had secured 3 points for the Blues at Stamford Bridge, but a 93rd, 94th minute header from summer signing Casemiro, his first goal for Manchester United, levels things out. It was just over the line. Technology comes to the favour of Manchester United because it's just over the line. It goes to the technology, goes to the watch. The referee says, yes, I've got a buzz on my watch. Yeah, and says it's a goal, and UVHQ erupted. So we're going to show you the highlights of that. It was excellent. Rooney says morning from Botswana. A couple of people from Botswana this morning. Stephen says morning from West Yorkshire. Yes, a nice early stream, a West Yorkshire stream. Excellent stuff. Let's get into the quotes from Erik Ten Hag after the game. He spoke to the media, and this is what the Manchester United manager had to say. Quotes, I have to make a big compliment to my team. To fight back with a 4th game in 10 days, you see the spirit and how they deal with setbacks. Really good. First half, Rashford had 2 big chances. Anthony 1 against 1. You have to score goals in such moments because in top games, 3 chances is massive. You have to score. We dictated the game, and I'm happy with that. If you concede a goal late, it's difficult. 8 minutes before half-time, we had some troubles, but in defence in the second half, we didn't have troubles. The second half, we didn't create big chances, but also Chelsea didn't. I think it's a fair result. I would have been disappointed if we had gone without a point because we didn't deserve that at the end of the tough week to come here to bring a point home. And I think, again, shocker, I'm agreeing with what Erik Ten Hag is saying here, but I think he's bang on. I really do. I think particularly he doesn't pull any punches there, Erik Ten Hag, and that's what he does. He speaks very openly, very clearly, and very honestly whenever he talks to the media, particularly about performances, and he's right. That first 30 minutes was just a continuation of the really, really good performance we saw against Spurs Wednesday night at Old Trafford. It's very rare, especially in modern day top flight Premier League football, that you'll go to a top 6 rival, a top 4 rival like Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, and dominate as much as we dominated in that 30-35 minutes. We had all the ball. We had all of the chances. 3, as he mentions, big chances. Rashford has a couple. The one-on-one with Kepa, where Kepa comes out quite quickly. It's a difficult one. The one, again, where he fires the shot off, should probably do better. And I think the biggest one, most likely, is that Antony chance. Tries to use his right foot, sort of slices it, and it goes wide of the post. He should go across goal. Those are massive chances, and you have to be clinical. And that really is the overarching point, or the improvement point, that Erik ten Hag would probably say to his players after this week and after the last couple of weeks of, we've been playing good football. Actually, we've been controlling games to a large degree, not so much after Graham Potter made those changes, and not so much in the second half, but we have been having more possession. We've been creating chances. I'd be sitting here far more concerned if we weren't creating chances. I said it after we just scraped past Ammonia at Old Trafford a couple of weeks ago, right, with McTominay and his last-minute goal. I said I would be really concerned coming out of that game if, you scored in the last minute and you're celebrating beating Ammonia, but we made so many chances in that game. We dominated. How many shots did we have? It was like 30+. And to a degree, it was somewhat similar against Newcastle. I would say particularly in that second half, we dominated Newcastle, created chances, because Rashford and Fred should have scored and we should have won that game. Same against Spurs. We absolutely dominated them. And we had however many shots it was against goal. We won in the end, was it 2-0? But we should have won even more than that. We had more chances to score. Hugo Lloris makes some good saves. And it was the same yesterday in that 30 minutes. We should have been at least 1 or 2-0 up. So we have to be more clinical. And I think Ten Hag would just say, particularly to people like Rashford and Antony, when you've got that moment in front of goal, at this top level, at this elite level in the Premier League, they have to go in the back of the net. They have to. And sometimes it's a case of not having a rush of blood, having a bit of composure, side foot it, wait to see what the goalkeeper's going to do, or make your decision early, not just leather it. Don't get a rush of blood. Don't get a nosebleed because you're high up the pitch or anything like that. But again, taking a step back, I think they're really positive signs for Manchester United because we are creating chances. The next step is just to put them away. And in reality, I've seen a lot of criticism of Marcus Rashford, and we will talk about Rashford later on in the show, but I've seen people saying, his finishing's poor, or he's just putting his foot through the ball, and that's fair. His finishing does need a lot of improvement, but he's not our number 9. He's playing in that position at the moment because we're really light and we don't have many options. Yesterday, we had one person that could play up front. That was Rashford, and he's not even a recognised striker. Going into this season, we were not talking about Marcus Rashford playing up front. We weren't. We said our 2 striking options were Martial and Ronaldo. They both weren't available yesterday. So what we have seen in the last few weeks or so, certainly, is that come January, really, dependent on this Ronaldo situation, we need a new number 9. And come the summer, we really need another one. And we need whoever's going to be our number 9 going forward. Now, I don't know if that's going to be Anthony Martial. I mean, logic would say, I can't sit here and say that when he comes back, he's never going to get injured again, because for this season, certainly, because history, it points to otherwise, points to other outcomes when it comes to Martial. He's been injured, 3 or 4 times already this season, and it's not good enough. Now, if he can get a run of games and he can turn things around, that would be positive, but we can't rely at this stage on Martial to turn his fitness around. We can't. You can't put your season on that. And Ronaldo, clearly his future looks elsewhere from Manchester United, certainly in the long term, and you can't build with Ronaldo in the long term anyway. So we need a striker, that's clear. But to go back to the game yesterday, as Ten Hag said, we dictated the game, I felt, particularly in that 30 minutes. And even in the second half, when you think about it, Chelsea came way back in it. And in the second half, I think they had something like 60+% possession. It might have even been 70. But did Chelsea really, really threaten us? They hit the bar from a corner. If that had gone in, I'd have been disappointed anyway. But I didn't. David De Gea wasn't pulling out save after save after save, or Martinez and Varane, and we'll touch on Varane's injury and Martinez's performance, but they weren't making last-ditch tackles because we were absolutely getting battered. No, Chelsea had a lot of the ball, but I still felt defensively we were largely comfortable. And the only reason we can see the goal is maybe a bit of sloppy defending by McTominay and a dubious referee decision. But on the whole, we'd be happy with that. So again, I think looking at the performances we've had recently, I think there's a lot of positivity there. I really do. Now, talking about Rafael Varane's injury, Ten Hag said, quote, "It's difficult to say how it is now because it's so soon after the game. We have to wait 24 hours and then we'll know what it is." Again, we'll talk about Varane in a second, or a bit later on in the show. Ten Hag then continued saying, "It was a good game, two teams close together, but in the first half we dominated the game. That's why the opponent changed their system. Second half it was even, and in the end I think a point is justified." And I do agree. I think that coming out of the game, once it was over, that's why I would have been so disappointed with that late penalty, is that I'd have felt quite hard done by. I felt that, we can talk about the legalities of the penalty decision, but we didn't deserve to lose that game yesterday. Did we do enough to win it? Probably not. In terms of possession and having the controlling the game, as it were, we probably didn't do enough to win it. We didn't take our chances in the first half. You've got to be clinical, because if you're 2-0 up, or even 3-0, but let's say you're 2-0 up, or even 1-0 up after 30 minutes, then you're even more in control of the game than we already were. So I don't think we did enough to win it, but I didn't think Chelsea did either. I don't think Chelsea, especially going forward, did not threaten us at all. I thought, actually, attacking-wise, I thought Chelsea were really, really poor. Offensively, they offered next to nothing. They're fortunate they got a penalty. So United certainly didn't deserve to lose that game at all. Ten Hag then said, "It was a tough game, and I saw the body language from my players. They believe, fight back, and get the points." He was asked about Ronaldo after the game. We will have a Ronaldo discussion because, again, Ronaldo wasn't playing yesterday, and a lot of the discussion after the game was Cristiano Ronaldo, which is my frustration anyway. As I've said a million times, he plays, we talk about him. He doesn't play, or he's on the bench, we talk about him. He's on the bench and he comes on, we talk about him. He doesn't play, we talk about him. He didn't play yesterday for his own behaviour, and we're still talking about him. But Ten Hag continued saying, "I really have to compliment my team. If you can deliver this performance after 4 games in 10 days, if you can dictate the first half and the second half, and you are organised and fight back, I think that has to be the focus." So, again, Erik Ten Hag very happy with the performance, and again, I think I see real progress there. Compare that to the first 2 games of the season. Let's be honest, it's night and day. The progress really is there to be seen. After the Brentford game, after that just diabolical performance and the shambles that Manchester United was in at the time, we had to change the way we played. We were playing counter-attacking football. We weren't playing counter-attacking football yesterday. We went to Stamford Bridge and played possession-based football, played out from the back on occasion too. And the team looked comfortable doing it. So I see clear progression under Erik Ten Hag. I see a will to want to play possession-based football. I see a midfield. I have to give huge credit to Eriksen. Casemiro was immense yesterday, and Bruno Fernandes, in that United I thought were better on the ball, took care of the ball more. Eriksen didn't have his best game, and as the game went on, I think clearly you can see the fatigue that Erik Ten Hag is talking about, 4 games in 10 days, because we did start to look a little bit leggy, and maybe that's why Chelsea started to really get into the game a little bit more. But again, they didn't threaten. So I think there's clear progression under Erik Ten Hag, and I think that I look at this now and I come out of that game and I go, give it another year or 18 months and a couple more windows, and then who knows what we can achieve. But this guy, this manager, clearly is the right guy. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And I've said that before, and I'll keep saying it, because night and day from earlier on the season and night and day from last season are what we've seen for the last few years. And you've got to give him time, and I think you've got to back him because he knows what he's doing. He really does. The only area now for me of improvement is, again, we need a striker. We need to be more clinical, but that will come in time with more transfer windows, I believe. And hopefully, if Martial can regain fitness. So I think, again, very positive from yesterday. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Flex made a rare appearance inside UVHQ for the match view yesterday. So he gave his view from inside the studio. Here's what Flex had to say after the game for Flex's view.
Battle of chess. It was a game of chess between 2 really tactical managers. We've got to break it down into little subsections really, because we started so well. I didn't expect the game to go like that, especially in the first 30 minutes or the first half. How it was in the second half for us was more what I thought it would be: Chelsea dominating possession, us trying to hit them on the counter-attack, looking for them transitions. But it was anything but that. We started on the front foot. Our rotation was really well. We were dominant to the point where Graham Potter had a massive, massive problem. And the only regret that I think I have, obviously, yeah, we didn't win the game, but we didn't score in that first 30, 35 minutes when we were clearly on top of Chelsea. And it's credit to Graham Potter, really, because he saw exactly what was wrong. His side was getting overrun in midfield. He brings on Kovacic, which is he's a quality player. And then they kind of wrestled back possession. But could you say we were wasteful in them first exchanges? I would say yes, we were really wasteful in terms of the final product in the final third. But I take confidence from just doing things the correct way, being dominant at the back, being dominant in midfield, and actually arriving at the right positions in the final third. We just weren't clinical enough and didn't make the right choices. Sancho, which a lot of people have already said tonight, just wasn't at the races from minute one, struggled throughout the game, hence why he was taken off early in the second half as well. Rashford goes through. He forces a save from Kepa on his second one. On his first one, people want to talk about the Ronaldo thing, say he would have scored that. But listen, he could arguably do better. He goes for the little dink, but I think Kepa come out pretty big and made himself big and shut down the angle quite well. Anthony's one, kind of clean through on Kepa's near post, but it's on his right foot. Doesn't have that kind of finesse where he can just ease it into the net, pass it into the net, and that was frustrating because then the second half it was Chelsea. We looked a bit jaded. I think the injury to Raphael Varane didn't help us as well, and it wasn't all Chelsea in terms of we're being peppered, but we just looked disjointed and we just wasn't at it offensively. But having said that, the desire and the belief and the willingness and the hunger that this team is starting to show under Erik ten Hag is so refreshing. It's so good to see the boys fight. It's so good to see the boys not give up.
The views of Flex there from UVHQ yesterday. Big up Flex as always. He had a long day yesterday. He was on, Saturday Social Sky, did the football show on DR. Then he was on UVHQ for the match view as well. Great stuff as always. Lol Too Hard with a super chat says, any update on Varane? Praying for a quick recovery. It was horrible scenes yesterday. With Varane in tears. He knows his body. He knew that something bad had happened, and it was somewhat innocuous as well. Foot got caught in the ground and his knee jarred and his ankle kind of rolled. Ten Hag did say after the game, we don't know. Clearly Varane knows something's wrong and he was in tears. We would be under the assumption of, one, he's had injury issues, and two, he knows his World Cup might be in tatters now. Ultimately, we're not going to know for the next 24, 48 hours. We might get an update Monday, most likely Tuesday or something like that, or we'd have to wait until maybe Erik ten Hag's next press conference, which is Wednesday, prior to the Europa League game against Sheriff on Thursday, before we get an update on Varane. The hope is that it's not too bad. Obviously, for him and his own personal sake, you would hope that he's able to go to the World Cup. That would appear to be quite unlikely at this point. The positive, if there is one, the silver lining, is that he walked off the pitch. He didn't get stretchered off. He walked all the way around the pitch afterwards. So it's not like leg-breaking stuff, but clearly he knew that something was wrong. And it's always horrible to see a player come off the pitch like that, just in tears. So really, really horrible stuff. Again, here's hoping that it's not as severe as maybe he had imagined. Now, I do want to talk about Roy Keane's comments after the game, because if you didn't see, and you might actually, to be fair, you might not have seen, you might have been out of the country, or you don't have Sky as your broadcaster or whatever. Roy Keane was covering the game yesterday at Stamford Bridge, along with, I believe it was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank for Sky. Gary Neville came in after the game. He was doing a co-commentary for it. Roy Keane had a lot to say about Erik ten Hag, Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United. He's had a lot to say recently about this whole Ronaldo situation, which I find, some of his comments I thought were really disappointing, actually, and it baffles me. I'll be completely transparent. It baffles me because there is no way in a million years he would put up with this if he was the captain, a player at United, or a manager. In a million years, he would never put up with any of this. So I think it's important to have his quotes and his words in context and put them out there. So first of all, Roy Keane said, quote, he, referring to Erik ten Hag, is talking about spirit after the game. Don't you think that's a message to Ronaldo? He, referring to Ronaldo this time, certainly feels he's been unfairly treated. When you get that as a senior pro, it's almost justified anger. He is going to react that way. He's got flaws like everyone else. I guarantee you, if Ronaldo had played most of the games, then he'd be the leading goal scorer. He then said, quote, "We were in a dressing room with players who got punished if they made a mistake, but he, Ronaldo, gives something back. He scores a goal every 2 games. Ten Hag has obviously got big decisions. He's got to win football matches, but he's not winning enough of them. Manchester United are 5th in the league. They beat Spurs the other night, and I thought they won the European Cup. They beat Spurs. They beat them last year, and Ronaldo scored a hat-trick." Now, first of all, that the one I want to start with is the quote where he says Ten Hag obviously has got big decisions, he's got to win football matches, but he's not winning enough of them. Manchester United are 5th in the league. I love Roy Keane, and I love obviously him as a player, one of Manchester United's, if not possibly Manchester United's greatest ever captain, maybe the best ever captain in Premier League history, absolutely, and that will, and he's perfectly right to voice his opinion or voice his thoughts on the matter. And ultimately, look, I can't sit here this morning and tell you who to agree with or not agree with. I can only give my opinion as a retort to what Roy Keane has said there. Myself, I thought that was really, really disappointing to hear that, because what he's doing there, whether he means to or not, is implying that Erik ten Hag isn't doing a good job, or Erik ten Hag isn't doing well enough as Manchester United manager. I think if you look at things in context, which I don't think Roy Keane is doing here, I think he's backing someone that he knows, or he's backing someone that he likes in Cristiano Ronaldo, and maybe backing someone from the point of view of Roy Keane's got in trouble during his career. Certainly, he's had issues in clubs like Manchester United, and he feels like he should back the player in an instance, and that's his prerogative. But to imply that Erik ten Hag isn't doing a decent job or is somewhat struggling as Manchester United manager is laughable, in my opinion. If you look at what Erik ten Hag is doing at Manchester United in comparison to where they were last season and the fixtures that Erik ten Hag has had so far at Manchester United as the manager, I think he's doing an exceptional job. Not a good job, an exceptional job. Manchester United have lost once in their last 9 games in the Premier League. 6 wins and a couple of draws and 1 loss. That was against Man City. During that period of time, we have beaten Arsenal, the only club to beat Arsenal. We have beaten Liverpool at Old Trafford. We've beaten Spurs, who were, 3rd in the league, 4th in the league. Well, they were 3rd when we played them. We got a point at Stamford Bridge yesterday. As I mentioned, we lost to Man City. So you've played 5 out of the top 6 rivals in your last 9 games. You've only lost once away to Man City. That can happen. And the rest of the games you haven't lost. And this is a side last season that was shipping goals for fun. We were poor last season. We had our worst Premier League season ever. And we beat quality teams at Old Trafford. Our record against the top 6 last season was awful. Absolutely awful. Our defence is better. We're getting possession on the ball. We're dominating games now. And Roy Keane's to say that, he's not winning enough football matches. Manchester United are 5th in the league. Manchester United have arguably had the toughest run of fixtures out of any of the top 6, top 4 teams. And Erik ten Hag's doing a fantastic job. And as a Manchester United legend, he should know better than after 11 games of the season, when Manchester United are absolutely in the race for top 4, we're a point off it. He should know better than to question or put pressure on a Manchester United manager implying that he's not doing a good enough job or he's not winning enough games. This is the same guy as well, and this is the frustrating thing. This is the same guy that when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was getting pressured because he wasn't winning enough games, he said, you've got to give a manager time. You've got to give a manager time. It's got to be 2 or 3 years. Suddenly after 11 games, not winning enough football matches. That is ridiculous. That is such a ridiculous statement, and that is a statement that I truly believe he doesn't believe what he's saying there. He cannot believe what he's saying there. That to me is a guy that is backing someone he knows, backing a friend of his. That's his prerogative. Okay, I understand that. But to imply that, well, you're not winning enough football matches, oh, come on. That is such a ridiculous statement to make. And I just felt yesterday when he was having this discussion about Cristiano Ronaldo is he took a position and that he wasn't willing to sort of concede a little bit of ground on it. And again, that's really disappointing. Now, we can talk about Ronaldo being feeling that he's been unfairly treated. Okay, that's Ronaldo's prerogative to think that, whether you believe that or not, or you're going to base it off last season or what he's done in his career. Again, I don't even really necessarily totally understand that because It's not last season. Things are massively different to last season. It's not the same manager. There's a completely different group of players. We're playing a different style of football, and we're doing well. We're doing better. Does everyone forget what we saw last season? We were awful. And yes, Ronaldo played really well in a poor side, but we're playing better. We're playing a different style of football. And this is the one I don't understand as well. When Roy Keane says, I guarantee you, if Ronaldo had played most of the games, he'd be a leading goal scorer. How could he play most of the games? He played 45 minutes in pre-season. Therefore, it was always going to take him 4 or 5 weeks to even get into a point where he could start games. And when he's starting games, he's not scoring. This is what baffles me about this whole thing. He's not scoring goals. He said that, if he gives you a goal every 2 games. Well, at the moment, he doesn't. He doesn't. In the past, yeah. But that was when he was in his, mid-30s or early 30s or 20s. He was getting a goal every 2 games. But at the moment, he's not. He's not. And he can't play every game. Because 1, he's nearly 38. And 2, he didn't have pre-season. People just ignoring that. What, you've got to have 45 minutes of pre-season, then you're going to start the first 5 or 6 Premier League games? Of course not. You're not going to. And so again, we've spoken so many times, and this is the frustrating thing for me. We've spoken so many times about, we've got to move on. Can't look at last season. It's a fresh start. It's a fresh start. It's a clean slate. As Erik Ten Hag would say, I wasn't here last season. And again, I know some people are just never going to agree on Ronaldo. Has he been respected? Has he been disrespected? In my opinion, I don't think he has. I think it's the manager's prerogative who he plays, when he plays them, bringing people on, taking people off. That's my thought process. That's my opinion. And Roy Keane's perfectly valid and justified to put his opinion out there. But to imply that the Manchester United manager isn't doing well, I think is ludicrous. I really do. And when Roy Keane said, Ten Hag is talking about spirit after the game, don't you think that's a message to Ronaldo? No, I don't. Because everything isn't about Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, what I saw yesterday was a good performance by Manchester United. What I saw was character and fighting spirit, and coming back after conceding a penalty in the 86th, 87th minute. Most teams, and especially the Manchester United team last season, would have just folded and said, well, we lost the game. We did okay. It's not fair, but we lost the game. But they fought back. That's what Erik Ten Hag's talking about. He's talking about the spirit of coming back in a really difficult position. He's not talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, again, because everything isn't about Ronaldo. But people want to make it about Ronaldo every single time. That's it. Every comment that Erik Ten Hag had after the game wasn't, does he mean this about Cristiano Ronaldo? No, he doesn't. He doesn't, because not everything's about him. So, again, I thought it was really disappointing. I really did, by Roy Keane, because, and I understand that if you are friends or close to people or close to players, it might be difficult to criticize them. But you cannot tell me that if Roy Keane was the captain or a player or the manager, he would never, ever, ever have that from Cristiano Ronaldo. Not in a million years. Not in a million years would he ever have that. And to try and shift that on the manager, I think is ludicrous. And again, you could say, well, he didn't get his move in the summer. What move in the summer? There was nothing on the table apart from a Saudi move. That was it. A Saudi Arabia club came in. Apart from that, it's been widely reported by everyone. There were no offers on the table. Now, you could say, maybe they should have mutually terminated his contract. Maybe they should have done that. Maybe that would have been the easy option. And I do think that might be what they'll do in January. But again, to hear Roy Keane say that after the game, I thought was really disappointing. Of someone that's constantly talking about backing the manager and backing the process at Manchester United in a really key moment for the manager when he does have to stamp his authority on the squad, he's implying that he shouldn't have done it. And I think that's crazy. I really do. Let's get to a couple of super chats here. We've already got quite a few in. Scroll up here because there's quite a few. I think Troy's on one this morning as well. Here we go. Troy Superstar says, I totally agree with Roy Keane. I think Roy Keane is vindicated. Ten Hag cost us 2 points. We would have won. Love Roy. I don't know how Ten Hag cost us 2 points, to be honest with you. I think people missing opportunities might have cost us 2 points, but okay. Owen, your opinion is just that. What do you know? Your opinion is just as valid as mine, Troy. I'm not going to criticise anyone for their opinion. That's what football's all about. It's about opinions. I've just said that Roy Keane's allowed to have his opinion. Doesn't matter. I don't have to disagree with it. I agree with it. Keane said, "How do you know that Bonucci and Chiellini are pros? Remind me of high school debates. He speaks his mind for sure, wrong or right, and he's perfectly allowed to." Troy Superstar says Ten Hag is bang average, clueless in game management. Well, this is the thing, Troy, because you go back and forth, because you say that Ten Hag's going to win the league, but he's clueless. Imran says Rio, Keane and Scholes just disappointing, putting friends before clubs. Loyoyo says, low-key think Keno is a reckless delegate. Troy Superstar says, you and Flex and KG are all part of the Ten Hag cult. It's average. Keane is so right. Ten Hag caused this. CR7 could play 30 minutes. Relax, we're winning the league. How are we winning the league if the manager's terrible? It's crazy. And Ramvid says, who needs CR7 when we have Marcus Rashford and Bruno up top? We need a striker. There's no doubt we need a striker. I'm not going to disagree with that. Marcus Rashford cannot be our option up front. He cannot be our option up front. Now, and again, what I think would be really unreasonable is if I came out this morning or after the Ronaldo incident and said, he should never play for the club again, he should never wear a Manchester United shirt again, because that's ridiculous. That would be reactionary, and that would be crazy to say. But the bending over backwards to justify that kind of behaviour, I think is insane, because we would not justify it for anyone else. And for those that say, well, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not like anyone else, as a manager, you cannot do that. In incidents like that, we're not talking about someone showing up 5 minutes late or something. We're not talking about, being substituted and waving your arm in the air. We're talking about leaving the stadium during the game. You cannot justify it. And again, to those trying to, I don't understand that. And I might be missing something, but I disagree with that. I do want to talk about the penalty decision as well, and I do want to get to these clips. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. We've got nearly 600 people watching. We can get to 600 likes. Of course we can. We can get to 500 likes. You and I, it's all fire this morning. The penalty decision, during the game, I wasn't happy with it. And I don't disagree that it's a double negative. A better way for me to say it. It's a penalty in terms of the letter of the law. Scott McTominay puts his arms around Brozier. If you do that in the box, you give a referee a decision to make, and the player can go down and the referee can look at it. If he spots it, he'll give it. It's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. It's a foul in the box. It's a penalty. I don't have an issue with that, because by the letter of the law, that is a foul. And McTominay, I think it's sloppy defending. I think it's unnecessary. He doesn't have to do it. You would say manage the game. I understand Brozier's a big physical striker, but by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. My frustration with it, and still is the case, is that you see that so often in the Premier League, or just in football in general. You will not have a corner where people aren't wrestling people, putting their arms around you. I guarantee if you go back in that game, you'll see Chelsea do it. You'll see United do it in every game. And they very, very, very rarely get given. Now, that's not to justify the referee not giving it, again, because it is a foul. My only thing would be consistency. And I speak it a million times on shows like this. You will see no consistency in the Premier League or with these referees in England with it. You just won't. You will see a game today, you'll see the wrestling, nothing happens. And I think that as a referee in the 86th minute of a game, to give a penalty, which you're basically saying that the other team's probably going to win the game if I give this penalty, you have to be dead certain that that is a clear, justified penalty. That has to be a proper decision to make. And it's a big call. And he was never going to overturn it, again, because by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. But my issue was consistency. As long as I see them continuously given this season, I don't mind. But we both know that's not the case. We both know you will not see penalty. You will see a game where it's exactly the same, because we see the same with every other decision. I understand football's subjective. Referees can't always get it right. But there'll be VAR decisions. And they'll go, well, it's not a clear and obvious error. Well, it's a clear and obvious penalty to the referee. So that was my frustration with the penalty. But nevertheless, we came back anyway. So at the end of the day, it's not too bad. Let's go to KG. KG spoke to Flex after the game. Here's what KG had to say.
I have a point, man.
I'm not angry at all. I'm not angry in the slightest. 4 points for a possible 6. Big games and games close together. Now, today we showed a lot of character, and there was a lot happening in that game. Again, it was like two managers playing chess.
Yeah.
Two managers just, trying to outsmart each other. And it did feel like it was the hallmarks of a big game. It was a hallmarks. It kind of brings me back to Fergie, Mourinho trying to work each other out. It was one of those ones. Yes, those managers haven't reached where they need to reach in terms of success on the pitch, but you can say that they were really trying to cancel each other out. They're waiting. He makes a sub. He's like, oh, okay, he's done that. You see them on it. Let's work it out. Bring on Fred, but and stuff wasn't working. Unfortunately, today we had passengers. Today was a game of we carried too many players, and you can't carry players in the big games. You the big one, Sancho, passenger, Rashford, passenger. Shaw was in and out. Then he makes this big moment, but then there was when him and Sancho together, it was weird. Remember when we went through this pattern where they just couldn't look after the ball properly. Again, Man United, I'm happy with the progression. First half, you can say we won the first half. Second half, you had to give it to Chelsea. They made the right changes. As soon as Kovacic comes on, the game really changes.
First half after 35 minutes.
And they got some brightness. They got some luck, and we had to ride it out. We're not clinical, but we had to ride out a lot of things. Again, Anthony, you can tell he started off really well, became a passenger. So again, in big games like that, you can't afford to carry players, and we had to do a lot of carrying.
Was it a statement in terms of, not to the league or anything like that, but I mean within ourselves, to the fans, and to show that the players are buying into what Ten Hag's doing? Because like you said, Ten Hag didn't just sit on his ass and just think, well, I set my stalls out.
Yeah,
he's being proactive. He's trying to organise things, trying to change things. Is it a statement from the players to say that we are really buying into what this manager's doing?
Ten Hag doesn't need any more statements anymore in terms of the players. The players know exactly who's in charge. They saw it today. Today, everyone will argue and say, oh, man, if we had a Ronaldo off the bench, it could have been helpful, right? That would have been the argument. But he's taken him out, even though it's a really big game. And you could actually see we lacked something. We were lacking. And again, we had to have that left side conversation.
The thoughts of KG there after the game. Couple of other super chats, then we are going to talk about Jadon Sancho. Troy Superstars Kit says, Keane was right, stick to your Ten Hag cult, CR7 forever. Troy, that seems very cultish at the end there. And then says, we're not saying CR7, justifying CR7. No, we're saying Ten Hag is the cause. Ten Hag didn't cause Cristiano Ronaldo to leave the stadium early. And again, I don't want to focus. I want to spend the entire time talking about Cristiano Ronaldo because he didn't play yesterday. And JHM99 has been a member for 4 months. Appreciate 4 months of support, my friend. And says, what a day. Indeed, what a day it was. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UB Members Club. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat as well. Jadon Sancho. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, I thought, was really poor yesterday. And he's been really poor for, gosh, what would you say, at least the last 3 or 4 games? And I said it in my fan view yesterday when I spoke to Flex, that when you trace it back to the beginning of the season, there were criticisms towards Sancho, your ability to beat a man, get past your fullback or whoever you're running up against. But he was still getting goals and he was still getting assists and he was contributing to the play. I don't know what's happened to Jadon Sancho in, say, the last 6 weeks or something like that. He has dropped off so immensely. He looks like he has zero confidence. He almost actually reminds me of Marcus Rashford last season, where he gets the ball at his feet and you can tell in his mind, that he doesn't think that he's going to score, or he looks like he's unsure about, is this opportunity that's about to come, or is this, is he able to beat his fullback? He just looks timid. He looks really, really timid. He looks, as I mentioned, almost fragile. I don't know if fragile is the right word, but he just looks like he's just got no confidence, and I don't know what it is. Even when he got substituted, because he got taken off for Fred came on for him, and Bruno Fernandes was moved out to the left-hand side. And it was after, if I recall correctly, it was after like a sloppy pass or a bad pass or something like that. And he turned to the bench, and he could tell there was a substitution. He knew it was him because he knew he was playing badly. It almost like, not like he wanted to come off, but he just is not on it right now. He really isn't, to the point that when Elanga came on, I suppose one criticism you could have of Ten Hag, or critique you could have of Ten Hag, was that maybe Elanga should have came on earlier, because Elanga was offering something that Sancho wasn't doing, which was pace, the willingness to run in behind. and just was willing to go at the fullback, because the right-hand side of Chelsea yesterday was there for the taking. You had Azpilicueta at right wing-back. Now, eventually, he moved back to right-back, but Azpilicueta at this stage in his career, what's he terrified? He's terrified of pace. He's terrified of someone that's willing to run him behind, terrified of someone's going to run at him. Sancho wasn't doing that yesterday, and even playing next to him was Chalobah. That right-hand side was really there for the taking, and Sancho just didn't do enough. And even okay, we know he's not maybe got the pace to go past people, but even so, like, he was sloppy on the ball, or attacks would come to him and he wouldn't find the right pass, or he'd force it, or, you know, play it behind people. And it's just, to me, it just looks like he needs some time out of the team, I think. I think he needs, Ten Hag needs to see a similar reaction from him that he has to other players when they've been dropped out of the side for a variety of reasons. If they're not playing well, look at Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, I thought yesterday was excellent once again. I think the turnaround in Luke Shaw is not even surprising. I was about to say it's incredible, but it's not surprising. Competition and the year of a major international tournament, Luke Shaw shows up. But you have to give him credit because he's put the work in. Physically, he looks the best I think I've ever seen him in a Manchester United shirt. First 30 minutes, he was getting forward, getting into that space. On the left-hand side with Sancho, he was far more threatening than Sancho was on that left-hand side. But my point being is that he had competition. There was someone else in his spot. He reacted. He got it back. He worked his way back into form. Even someone like Casemiro, who for me was man of the match for Manchester United yesterday, was excellent. When he came in, Scott McTominay was playing well, so he had to sit on the bench for a couple of games. Once he got the opportunity to get back into the side, he started to play well. And the last 2 or 3 games, he's been excellent for Manchester United. Absolutely excellent. And I don't know if it's a case of Sancho now needing to come out the side, having someone like Elanga in there, and you can say, oh, Elanga's not good enough for Manchester United, or he's not to the level that we want, but I don't think he can do worse than what Sancho was doing yesterday, or how Sancho has been playing recently. Because again, he just doesn't look confident. I think timid's the word. He looks timid, and for whatever reason, his confidence isn't there. And I think Ten Hag just, again, needs to take him out. And realistically, he knows he's somewhat fortunate to be in the side anyway. He's in the side because of circumstance. He's not in the side because of form. Because if Anthony Martial was fit, Marcus Rashford would be off that left-hand side, and Sancho would not be starting games. And maybe he knows that, but if he does know that, it's your prerogative then to play well. Play well, because you have to nail down that spot. Because right now, when Martial does come back in, Rashford's going out to the left-hand side. Sancho hasn't done enough for Erik ten Hag to say, well, look, I mean, I would want to make those changes, but Sancho's playing so well, I can't drop him. Sancho is not undroppable at this point. We're talking about Elanga coming in. So, again, I don't know if it's a case of Jadon Sancho needing to come out the side, play his way back into form. I mean, he struggled to get in the England squads anyway. He's not going to the World Cup. You know, he hasn't done enough, I don't think, to go to the World Cup to justify that. And there are plenty of players ahead of him in those forward positions for England. And again, maybe he knows that. Maybe he feels like opportunities are slipping away from him. But that's on himself, realistically. He's had plenty of game time this season. And after those first couple of games, he's just dropped off. Again, he reminds me so much of Marcus Rashford. And he's just ineffective. And I think he's got to find a way to play out of that form, or he's got to be taken out of the side. This is when it goes back to Erik ten Hag managing players. He's got to be taken out of the side, and he's got to find the right time to come back in. Europa League game on Thursday, Sheriff. I don't even think he should play that. I know you could say, well, surely if he's not going to play next Sunday, maybe he should play Thursday. I think in actuality, it's probably the game to play Elanga to get him up to speed. It's the game to get him into a bit of match rhythm for the game against West Ham. And we don't know what Martial's fitness will be. So, again, I thought it was really disappointing by Sancho. Doesn't make him a bad player. Doesn't mean his Manchester United career is over and he's never going to succeed. No, but he's clearly in a bad spot of form at the moment and needs to be taken out of the side. Now, someone completely opposite to that, of course, is Casemiro, who, again, I said was my man of the match yesterday. And the criticism, I think, of Casemiro in the early few games at United was his quality on the ball, his protection of the ball. He would win it back, but he'd give it away or would be somewhat sloppy. He looks like a guy that maybe was just working off that little bit of rust. Or we talk about match rhythm. So many people always say to me, oh, match rhythm's so important. And you do kind of see it with someone like Casemiro, in that suddenly he is being so protective on the ball, and his quality is there to be seen on the ball. And it's no coincidence to me that when we've had these big games against big clubs, top 6 rivals, Casemiro shows up. Because that's what he does. Big game Miro and Ten Hag time. That's what yesterday was. Casemiro in big games, pressure situations, he thrives. He based his Real Madrid career off of it. When you talk about Champions League semi-finals, Champions League finals, El Clasicos, Cup finals, you name it, Casemiro shows up. And that's what he did yesterday. That's what he did Wednesday. He was all over the pitch. Again, his quality of progressing the ball was something that I hadn't even really considered. I really didn't. I didn't actually consider his quality going forward. And the goal he gets, that is not an easy header. He is on the way down. He just gets enough of it, guides it back to the other corner. Kepa's really unlucky because he tips it onto the post. But Casemiro, again, the quality and the direction of the header is superb. And that goal's been coming for him. Realistically, it's been coming for Casemiro because he's been unlucky in a couple of games having shots or hitting the bar or keepers making saves. And or he missed the header against Everton, didn't he? So I don't even think we really considered that actually he can be a threat for us. I spoke about it after the Everton game. That run he made from deep was something that we really haven't seen for a long time. We have now this defensive midfielder that will get around the pitch, win the ball, play in big pressure situations, but actually can contribute to getting goals too. So he's going to be such an important player for us this season. And again, I know that Flex might have been critical of Casemiro early on in his Manchester United career. Was it justified? I don't know. Again, I thought some of his performances were slightly sloppy, but he's just fantastic. He really, really is. And I'm so glad that we've got him, and I'm so glad that it feels like it's working out with him. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. So, and I loved his passion at the end of the game. You saw what it meant. To those that said, "Oh, he only came to Manchester United for money, or he wanted to come to the Premier League over the age of 30 because he wanted to get that paycheck." No, he came because he wanted something different, and you saw what it meant. And you need people like that. You need characters like that. Lisandro Martinez, we're going to talk about him in a second. You need people in those games that have character, they've got aggression, they've got fight, and when it matters, they show up. And that's what Casemiro did yesterday. Now, speaking of Casemiro's late goal, let's take a look at the match view highlights. And if you're wearing headphones, be careful because UVHQ exploded with that late equaliser. Take a look.
Go away, Aspilicueta, man.
Hope Jorginho does what he done in the Euros.
Man.
If he ever saves this year,
And
the
again-
way Martinez is going to punch him up.
And again, for the referee to do that in the 85th minute, a call that big on a penalty like that in the 85th minute is a
Like
joke.
that. It's a joke.
Is a joke.
Stupid. I just can't
That
help but
late
think
in
that
the game
McTominay's
is
just
a
been
piss
naive,
take.
man. You can't defend like that, man.
No, you can't.
You can't put your arms
I'm not
around
saying by the letter of law it's not a penalty because it is.
That's what I mean, so it's a pen.
But you see it all the time.
Jorginho's good from the spot.
Fucking
David
defend
De
like
Gea
that.
hasn't been
To
good.
lose the
in
game
spot.
like this as well, man. Bullshit. You just know, of course, going to score. Fucking bullshit. They don't deserve that. Don't deserve. Well, then no. Well, you know what? They do deserve a penalty because it's stupid for McTominay. I think it's really stupid for McTominay
can't be
to try and
doing that.
defend
You
like that.
can't
You
be doing
can't.
I understand.
Can't defend like that.
Like I said,
bullshit.
I don't disagree that it's not a penalty by the law. What I disagree with is that you will
sake.
see a million
Flex,
of them.
that's happened
No, you're
all
right.
the time.
I
You will
agree
see
as
a
well,
million.
but-
It happens all
You'll
the time
see
in the
what.
Doesn't
Premier
matter,
League.
just don't
That's
defend
not
like
new.
that. It's not
But
how you
Flex,
defend.
That's not new in the Prem though.
Are we gonna?
No, the ref already told him just before as well.
Come on.
Be calm with it.
McTominay.
McTominay.
Is it goal?
I told you!
Stop me, little
What did
cheese,
I
hold
say?
that!
What did I say? Yes!
Karma, that's karma.
Who was it? Casemiro? Was it
Big
Cas?
game Miro! Big game Miro!
Yes, man!
Come on!
Move, man! Come on! We deserve that. Oh my God!
Big game mirror. That's what he does.
Wow.
Kepa who? Matisse.
Oh, what a header
Oh,
that
it's
is.
hit off the- yeah.
Oh, yes.
He's very unlucky.
Tell you what, though, it's a bullet header from Casemiro.
Yeah.
The height he gets on it.
Said it! We ain't lost.
I'm not even joking. When looking back, you know when you look back, and this is the funny thing with the match view. You have if you're on it, you have the ability to go back and see how you reacted. I had no recollection of how I celebrated yesterday, and I'm not joking. I put my laptop down. I was thinking of ways. How can I dive over how can I dive over the desk onto KG? How can I? I was thinking I'm going to jump in this guy's arm and he's going to carry me like a baby. I was so happy. It was unbelievable, and it's the pause as well. Is it a goal? Check it. Oh, it was UVHQ was buzzing, and I saw some comments yesterday of, I can't believe you're celebrating a draw. I can't believe you're celebrating like that when you just scored against Chelsea. You still drew the game. You still didn't win. Are you kidding me? And this is the thing that I backed the Arsenal fans over, with people saying, oh, look at them celebrating that they've won the league. It's a game of football, man. Stop trying to take the passion out of it. You're not allowed to celebrate a last-minute equaliser at Stamford Bridge when you feel slightly aggrieved about a penalty decision. Don't take the fun out of the game. Come on. You know, we thought the game was over. You thought you lost. You're not allowed to celebrate if in the last minute you think you've lost the game and you suddenly realise you've got a point. That's football. You can't take passion out of it. You can't take celebrating out of it. That just seems so salty. And those people, even if they're United fans, that they'll go, oh, it's only a draw. I bet you're fun at parties. Come on. That's what it means. That's character. For Manchester United, who, if we went 1-0 down the last 80 minutes, we lost. We didn't yesterday. We went 1-0 down in the last few minutes and we still didn't lose the game. That's what football's all about. It's about passion. Come on. I'm still buzzing after it yesterday. It's fun. So, celebration police is a real thing. Super chat from Shafi says, Rio, Keane and Scholes, a puking emoji. And Troy Superstar says, good point, Sancho has been like Rashford last year, referring to Sancho's confidence going away. Ed T says, Owen's laptop isn't insured. Yeah, I know, I had to put it down carefully. I'm not breaking that. Manish says, especially away against the top six side. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you've got to celebrate football. Come on, I can't. Let's not get into that. Lisandro Martinez. We've got about 10 minutes left, so be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. How many likes are we on actually? We've got nearly 600 people watching. Less than 200 still. We can get to 250. I have faith. You can do it. As we always say, as was it Rob Schneider says? Didn't think that reference was going to happen this morning. Lisandro Martinez. What a player Lisandro Martinez is. In terms of summer signings, actually, let me know in the chat with this one. Of all of our summer signings, so that includes Martinez, Eriksen, Anthony, Casemiro, Malacia, Dubravka. Who's been our signing of the year so far? Because in reality, actually, all of them are contributing in their own way, and all of them are doing pretty damn well, actually, at Manchester United. But who's been our signing of the summer? Which signing has proven to be the best? For me, it's difficult for Casemiro because he came a bit later on, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for the rest of the season, but I think he's now doing very well. Anthony, again, I think we've barely scratched the surface for him. But the signing of the summer for Manchester United has to be Lisandro Martinez. He is immense. What he offers to us isn't just defensive reassurance, isn't just aggression, isn't just passion, commitment. It's also his quality on the ball. His ability to pass the ball out of defense, his ability to pass the ball between the lines or make those penetrating passes. Very few centre-backs in the Premier League are able to do that. He is so reassured on the ball. And Jamie Carragher and Graham Souness and whoever wants to doubt him be damned, every single week he continues to prove why it doesn't matter about his physical statistics. It doesn't matter about his height because he is a world-class defender. No doubt about it. There is no doubt in my mind. We've played pretty much every top six club at this point, 11 games in. And even in the game against Man City, that was just a real poor performance. But in every other game, he's been excellent. What now? Who else? Who else are we going to throw at us? And you go back and look at that Jamie Carragher clip, and that's why it's laughable. He starts it off, he prefaces it by saying, I don't think you should judge players or managers too early, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's what he did. He judged Lisandro Martinez too early after one game. I can't play in the Premier League. Do me a favour. He can't play in the Premier League. He's one of the best defenders in the league. And even winning duels. If a player's bigger than him or stronger than him, he's smart. You go, I'm not going to compete with him. I'll just go into the back of him. Or I anticipate the ball first. I'll cut it out. Best players, best managers find solutions. That's what Lisandro Martinez does. He is invaluable to Manchester United. And I know at the moment, Bruno Fernandes wears the armband, but going forward, and I'm not sure how long Bruno's going to be at the club. How long's his contract? Is it like 4 years, 5 years? So maybe Bruno will be the captain going forward. But he's a leader. There is no doubt he is a leader on and off the pitch. I think his performances every single week, his drive, his commitment, that's what people should look to for a Manchester United player. He is world class. He absolutely is fantastic. And I know, again, people are always going to write him off. People are always going to say, well, height, this, that, and the other. But he continues to prove the doubters wrong. He will continue to do so, maybe because he doesn't look like Virgil van Dijk, or he doesn't have the height of Virgil van Dijk, or whatever. But Lisandro Martinez is a world-class defender. And some of the things he's able to do, people like Van Dijk aren't able to. I'd have Lisandro Martinez's ball control and passing ability over Van Dijk any day. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And again, yesterday, he was crowd surfing. He was crowd surfing after the game. He dove into the away end. The only thing you would say, but this is kind of what you're going to get with his aggression, is there's a couple of rash tackles in there. A couple of or 2-footers or sort of scissor tackles, and he can see a guy. You can see a guy that is going to probably get a couple of red cards, no doubt. he's going to get sent off at some point for Manchester United, I think, because he's going to make that tackle where you go. But I'm willing to overlook it because again, I think we've missed that so much, and again, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I really do. Lil Yo-Yo with a super chat says, negative Nancy's that don't enjoy celebrating. They enjoy plain flavoured crisps. There's nothing wrong with ready salted though, Lil Yo-Yo. I'm not having the ready salted slander. No seasoning, dull lives. Raz has been a member for 5 months. 5 months of support. Appreciate you, Raz. Says, do you think Ronaldo will play again? I mean, back what the manager wants, but I want to see the back of him. He's toxic. I don't think Ronaldo is necessarily toxic. I think I saw Jake Humphrey tweet something that said he's never done this before in his career. He has. It's documented he did it at Juventus under Maurizio Sarri. Ronaldo will play for Manchester United again. He'd probably be involved on Thursday, to be honest with you. I think he'll be involved in the Europa League squad. He'll play because United need him. United could have absolutely have done with him yesterday because we could have had a striker been brought on and maybe Ronaldo would have scored a goal. But those, again, implying that, well, that's Erik Ten Hag's fault. No, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't play yesterday because of his own behaviour. That's the facts of it. And he got punished because of it. Imran says, can Ronaldo take Troy with him, please? Come on. Troy's, everyone's allowed their opinion. And M. Sati says, Martinez tweeted a pic with a random guy. I saw that. He was crowd surfing. He said, I don't know who you are, mate, but it's all about passion. And that's exactly what it is for Lisandro Martinez. The butcher of Manchester. Let's see what Paolo had to say after the game. Of course, Paolo was there in the match review. He spoke to Flex after the game. Here's what Paolo had to say.
The thing is, you say that, Flex, but I thought in the first half an hour we were brilliant. It was just continuation from the Tottenham game. I thought we were dominant in possession. I mean, the press was unbelievable. And I thought I was actually kind of worried when Eriksen was playing because I thought we wouldn't be able to initiate that the way Fred did against Tottenham. I thought we would lack there. And we did see that Eriksen, even though we were great in the first half an hour, I thought he was kind of quiet. I didn't think he was actually that great in the game. But I thought, look, we dominated that first half an hour. It got a bit difficult for us after the change that Potter done tactically. But I thought we fought and we haven't really seen that. We didn't see that last season at all. And even the beginning of this season, we can argue we didn't see that at all.
Is today about belief and fight and keep going? Because, okay, the penalty decision, we debated it and stuff like that. But when the fact is, it went against us. We were facing defeat in the last 5 minutes of the game. Yeah. And the manager is making changes. The manager's he's encouraging us. The players are buying into it because we could have just rolled over and said, you know what, when we've come here, we feel a bit hard done by us the last 5 minutes. How impressed are you with that belief? And Bruno's been talking about it in his post-match.
I'm incredibly impressed because when you look at players like Dalot, Bruno, these are players who have been criticised, especially last season. We were talking about Dalot, we were saying, this guy's not it at right back. We need another right back. We still do, either way. He's played 4, 5, 90-minute games. This guy's fighting towards the end. When that run he done in the 80th minute, where I was thinking, man.
Like it was minute 1.
I know, right? Yeah. Bruno again, Bruno Fernandes, This guy, I was actually one of his biggest critics last season. I thought that him in possession, impatient, giving away these balls that you shouldn't be doing, man. Like, you're trying to dominate possession and you'll keep giving the ball away. And what we saw in this game as well was he was being patient. We were controlled in possession. Good passes. intricate passes, smart decisions. Those passes in between the lines we were talking about, Martinez, Eriksen and Casemiro, we haven't really seen that from last season. And the last couple of seasons, we've missed players like this who are not scared to put those passes in between the lines. And it looks simple on TV. It looks simple, just passing between the lines. But those are difficult passes to make. You've got to be there mentally, which for me, Sancho wasn't today. I thought he was, when it came to taking on the opposition fullback, he was nervous to do it, or the opposition centre-back, whoever it was, he was nervous to take him on. And he was in two minds. Should I take him on, or should I try and cut in or pass backwards? And I think Sancho right now, there's a mental block there for Sancho. So either way, I'm incredibly impressed with
The thoughts of Paolo there after the game. Big up Paolo and his pronunciation of I will butcher it. Not the butcher, but I will butcher the pronunciation. I'll do my best. Nearly threw my mouse all over the place. Bruno Fernandes. It's not really. I just sound like I'm speaking with a mouth of marbles, don't I? Bruno Fernandes. No, I've got to work on that one. Lil Yo with the super chat says, crisps plus no salt, just bland. Ready salted. That's a little bit of seasoning. I get your point. Appreciate that, Lil Yo. So there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, all of the clips you have seen today are part of the bigger fan views, so you can go see them on the channel. Of course, they're all up. Flexes, KGs, my own. You got Paolo's there as well. So be sure to check that out. You can go back and watch the match view as well if you want to see that reaction once again. There's actually a short on the channel of our reaction to that goal, so you can check that out there and just watch it on loop, like I have 10 million times, thinking, oh, Owen, what are you behaving like that for? It was terrible. And listening to KG with that goal, you can see him in the background, I told you, I told you, I told you. Another fun thing to do, actually, to go back and watch the celebrations, is watch everyone's like individual reaction to them. Because I noticed when I went back and saw it, that KG just sort of looks like this for ages and gets up, and it's a delayed reaction. It's excellent. It really is excellent. So be sure to check that out. As I mentioned, you can see all the fan views on there. Plenty of stuff coming up as well in the future. We've got, obviously, tomorrow is Monday, so you know what that means. Monday, 7 p.m, the full view will be back with the regular panel. That's going to be a fun one. Tactical view is coming out tomorrow. Myself and Cam going to break down that tactical game of chess between Erik ten Hag and Graham Potter at Stamford Bridge, so you won't want to miss that one. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great Sunday, and I'll speak with you again very, very soon. Peace.